Hi, this is Rich Carlson. Welcome to another episode of The Art of Rope Work here at Canyons and Crags. Today we're going to be talking about the Canyon Cordelette and how it's evolved into something I'm calling the poor man's JAG. It's got quite a few uses, so grab your gear and a rope and follow along. Before we dive into today's topic, I invite you to check out my website and subscribe to my newsletter. Visit canyonsandcrags.com, scroll down to the bottom of any page, and enter your email address. So the original inspiration for the Canyon Cordelette was the Purcell prusik. One of the cool things about the Purcell is it has a built-in 2-to-1 mechanical advantage, and because it prusiks onto itself, once you lift with that 2-to-1, the load will be held in place. One of the downsides though is it's a finite length. So here you can see me lifting with two hands, then holding with one hand to bump up the prusik. The distance I can lift is limited by the length of the Purcell prusik. For some applications, this limitation is not an issue. For pickoffs, it becomes critical for the rescuer to position themselves correctly, or they will run out of lift before the subject's weight is transferred from their system to the rescuers. So the Canyon Cordelette is a single strand version of a Purcell. The material that I chose is Blue Water's Hybrid PER. It's a 7.5 millimeter cord with a sheath that's part polyester and part Technora, and a tensile strength rated a little more than 4,100 pounds. It turned out to be perfect for this application. Using the Canyon Cordelette, length is not an issue. Here I connected the loop to the lower carabiner first, then set the length with a clove hitch on the anchor carabiner. If the original 2-to-1 mechanical advantage proves insufficient, it is simple to convert the Canyon Cordelette into a 4-to-1 compound mechanical advantage, a 2-to-1 pulling a 2-to-1. There are a number of pre-rigged block and tackle systems on the market. Most of them are set up to provide either a 5-to-1 mechanical advantage or a redirected 4-to-1 mechanical advantage. The one I have here is the Petzl JAG. The JAG is set up with dual sheave pulleys on both ends, and one of those pulleys has a built-in cam similar to that you see on a microtraction. The way I've got it rigged right now is with a 5-to-1 mechanical advantage. So it's rigged to an anchor, it's rigged to the load. I grab the end and lift, and because it's got the built-in cam, once I've lifted, the load stays in place, making it ideal for things like pickoffs or converting static loads to lowers. I've demonstrated the JAG in a number of classes, and of course I get a lot of oohs and ahs from students because it is a very slick system. Next question students ask is, that is cool, how much does it cost? And unfortunately the price is about $300, well worth the investment for a professional rope worker, but a little on the pricey side for a casual recreator. It occurred to me that I could use the Canyon Cordelette to create kind of a poor man's JAG. So I asked Blue Water to make a special version of the Canyon Cordelette with a sewn termination on one end. Let's go out in the field and I'll show you how it works. The first step is to connect the sewn termination to a carabiner, either on the anchor or on the load end of the system. Where I start and the number of times I pass the cord through the carabiners determines the amount of mechanical advantage. In this example, I am creating a simple 4-to-1. The last pass of cord should run through a microtraction. There are two reasons for this. First, for maximum efficiency, you always want to put your best pulley closest to the hauler. Second, the microtraction will serve as a progress capture device. The more segments of tension cord there are before the microtraction, the less load there will be on the microtraction. Tying off the system with a mule hitch and an overhand knot, as I am doing here, may not be necessary, but I am using a 7.5 millimeter cord in a device the manufacturer suggests for 8 millimeters or greater. Tying off gives me extra peace of mind. For this demonstration, I am using the Canyon Cordelette to convert static rigging, in this case a carabiner block, to lower. Once the block is removed, I can begin lowering. The process was made even simpler with the use of a VT prusik. If you need additional friction for lowering, you can add a munter hitch or a belay device on the anchor. In the previous example, I started with the sewn termination clipped into a carabiner at the anchor. Starting at the anchor will provide an even-numbered mechanical advantage, 2 to 1 or 4 to 1. This time I started on the load end of the system, giving me an odd-numbered system, in this case a 3 to 1, but I could have done a 5 to 1 with another complete passive cord through both carabiners. If you look closely at this photo, you can see the sewn termination clipped into the anchor carabiner. Look even closer and you will see there are 3 strands of cord under tension, all sharing the load. Because the microtraction was installed on the last passive cord, it needs to hold only 1/3 of the load, even though I had a 4 to 1 mechanical advantage while I was pulling. Look closely at this photo and you can see the sewn termination clipped into a carabiner at the load end of the system, and there are 2 strands of cord under tension, both sharing the load. Again, the microtraction was installed on the last passive cord. This time it needs to hold 1/2 of the load, even though I had a 3 to 1 mechanical advantage while I was pulling. Up to now, the poor man's JAG utilized carabiners as pulleys, except for the last pass through the microtraction. Carabiners are not efficient pulleys, but in many cases they can get the job done. Another option is to use the Canyon Cordelette with 2 double sheave pulleys. Here I have a redirected 4 to 1 mechanical advantage. I'm using 2 high-efficiency double 6 pulleys from Rock Exotica. Without the microtraction serving as a progress capture device, I must tie off the system using a mule hitch followed by an overhand knot. In this second example, I am using the same double 6 pulleys to create a 5 to 1 mechanical advantage just by turning the system around end to end. There are many other uses for the Canyon Cordelette, including setting up anchors for top rope climbing, multi-pitch climbing, and rappelling. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you think it will benefit others, please share it on your favorite social media. Hey, and be sure to check out my website. Thanks for watching.